Ladies, let me tell you something powerful. The moment you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop needing, he starts wondering, he starts craving, he starts obsessing. Why? Because confidence is magnetic. Because mystery drives men crazy. Because the less you care, the more power you have. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to step into that power unapologetically. This isn't about games, it's about value. Your value. It's about knowing when to walk away and still have them crawling back. Ready to feel unstoppable? Let's go. Detachment is not about being emotionless. It's about emotional maturity. It's not about being cold-hearted or cruel. It's about choosing peace over chaos. Imagine this, you're texting someone and they take hours to reply. What do most people do? Overthink, worry, maybe even double text. That's attachment. That's insecurity, looking for validation. But detachment? Detachment is when you look at your phone, see no reply, and you don't spiral. You don't question your worth, you simply carry on. Because you were whole before that message, and you're still whole without it. Confidence is not loud, it's not aggressive, it's not desperate. It's quiet, calm, and powerful. When a woman learns how to be detached, she gains the ability to walk away from anything that disrupts her peace. When a woman learns how to be detached, she gains the ability to walk away from anything that disrupts her peace. That power, that inner stillness, it shakes the world around her. Think about the woman in the office who doesn't engage in gossip, doesn't compete for attention, doesn't explain herself unnecessarily. She walks into a room and everyone notices. Not because she's loud, but because she doesn't need the noise to be seen. Most people think that caring less means you don't love. But no. Real love isn't obsession. Real love respects space. Detachment means you give people the freedom to be who they are, while giving yourself the freedom to walk away when they forget who you are. You don't beg for time. You don't chase closure. You rise. Let me ask you, have you ever seen a woman who used to always be available suddenly stop responding the way she used to? She starts prioritizing herself, her goals, her life. That shift, that's detachment. And watch how everyone around her starts panicking. That man who used to ignore her messages suddenly becomes curious. The friends who took her for granted now want to check in. Why? Because she pulled her energy back. She's not angry, she's just focused. She's not bitter, she's just detached. And that shift, it's magnetic. Detachment is your power in the modern world. When someone hurts you, you don't have to explode or prove anything. You let them go silently. And trust me, silence is louder than any scream. That's confidence, that's class, that's self-worth. Think about a girl in a toxic situationship. He gives her mixed signals, disappears, then returns when it's convenient. The moment she stops reacting, stops entertaining the circus, and starts living, really living, her life, he panics. He wonders what happened. That's what detachment does. It makes people realize your presence was a privilege, not a guarantee. You're not heartless. You've just learned that not everything deserves your attention. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to explain your worth. And you definitely don't need to show up for people who never show up for you. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them feel your absence. You? You just move in silence. You build. You glow. You grow. That's detachment. And let's be clear, detachment isn't about ignoring people. It's about choosing yourself every single time someone makes you feel like a second option. It's when you stop trying to fix what keeps breaking you. It's when you say, I deserve more, and you walk in that truth, even when it's lonely. Because temporary loneliness is better than permanent disrespect. So the next time someone pulls away from you, let them. Don't chase. Don't cling. Don't collapse. Detachment is knowing that what's meant for you will never require begging. It will never feel forced. And when you have that mindset, oh darling, you become untouchable. When you know your worth, chasing becomes unnecessary. It's like a diamond. Begging someone to see its value. It doesn't happen. A diamond doesn't scream, it shines. You don't have to explain your value to someone who's not ready to receive it. When you truly know what you bring to the table, you stop trying to sit at every table that invites you. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. Think of a girl who keeps texting, calling, waiting for someone to reply. She sends long paragraphs trying to fix a bond that the other person isn't even trying to hold. Every unread message chips away at her self-esteem. But the moment she realizes, why am I chasing someone who can't even match my energy? That's when she wakes up. She deletes the chat, closes the door, and chooses herself. That's power. That's when obsession shifts. Because suddenly, she's no longer accessible. And that scares people who were used to her availability. You don't chase what you deserve, you attract it. Because when you stand tall in your value, the right people rise to meet you. The wrong ones, they'll call you too much only because they're not enough. Stop shrinking to be loved. Stop running after people who make you feel like you have to earn a place in their lives. Your existence is already worthy. Your presence is already a privilege. Imagine walking into a room for a job interview. You've prepared. You've worked hard. You know your skills. You know your experience. Now imagine begging the interviewer to accept you. Saying, please pick me. I'll do anything. I'll accept any pay. Just take me. That desperation weakens your credibility, your posture, your aura. The same thing happens in relationships. Desperation doesn't attract love. It attracts manipulation. But when you walk into any room, any relationship, knowing what you offer, you'll never lower yourself for approval. A woman who doesn't chase is often misunderstood. People say she's arrogant, too proud, too independent. But let me tell you, those are just words people use when they can't control you. When you stop chasing, people start reflecting. They start asking, was I the one losing something real? And often they come back, not because they changed, but because your absence made them realize they were replaceable in your world, but you were not in theirs. Take an example from friendships. You always make plans, you always initiate, you always check in. One day you stop. Silence. Days pass. No calls, no messages. You realize it wasn't a friendship, it was you doing the work of two. That's the wake-up call. That's when you stop watering dead plants. And suddenly, your energy starts blooming elsewhere. With people who show up for you, not just need you when it's convenient. There's a divine kind of elegance in not chasing. It's the quiet confidence of a woman who knows her vibe is rare. She's not rude, she's selective. She's not unavailable. She's intentional. She's not playing hard to get. She is hard to get. Because not everyone deserves her time, her love, her energy. And when you live with that mindset, you stop being afraid of who leaves. You only care about who respects your presence enough to stay. You don't chase what you deserve, because you've spent too many years chasing people who made you feel like love had to be earned. But now, you know better. You've learned that anything forced will never be fulfilling. You've learned that you don't have to show someone what they lost. You just have to let them lose you. Because the moment you stop running toward what doesn't serve you, the things meant for you start running toward you. Silence is a language. Not everyone can speak it, but those who do, they own the room without saying a single word. In a world where everyone is trying to prove themselves, explain themselves, post their emotions on social media, or argue for validation, silence is the ultimate power move. It's not weakness, it's control. It's not confusion, it's clarity. When a woman goes quiet, the world gets loud. People start to notice. People start to worry. Because silence makes people listen harder than any scream ever could. Think about this. You're in a heated argument. Emotions flaring. Voices raised. Everyone's trying to win. Now imagine one person, calm, collected, not reacting, just watching, just present. That person holds the power. Because while others are spilling their energy all over the place, this person keeps theirs protected. And nothing is more unsettling to someone who thrives on drama than a person who refuses to dance in their chaos. You know what shakes a man more than tears or begging? A woman who says nothing, who doesn't ask for closure, who doesn't text why, who simply disappears with her dignity intact and her silence echoing louder than any insult he ever threw. That kind of silence, it's not passive, it's intentional. It's when you've said all that needed to be said and now you let the silence say the rest. Picture a girl who used to constantly explain herself, defend herself, justify her feelings. She used to write paragraphs trying to be understood. But one day, she stops. No more chasing. No more explaining. She deletes the chat, unfollows, unbothers, and moves on quietly. And that silence, it hits harder than any message. Because now, he's wondering what happened. He refreshes the chat, checks the last scene, replays the voice note in his head. That's the scream of silence. It lives in their mind, rent-free. Silence is also the biggest teacher. When people hurt you, you don't always have to react. Sometimes silence is the closure. Silence is the revenge. Let them wonder why you're not angry. Let them question why you're not begging. Let them feel the absence of your presence. That's when they realize you were the calm in their storm. That's when they realize your voice was their comfort, and now it's gone. In friendships too, sometimes, the loudest message is the one you don't send. You stop checking in. You stop showing up. You stop trying to hold a space that they keep taking for granted. And when they finally notice your absence, they come running, not because you said something, but because your silence told them everything. It told them, I deserved better. I gave enough. Now it's your turn to feel the emptiness. There's a reason silence is sacred in courtrooms, in rituals, in moments of power, because it demands respect. It demands presence. And in your life, when you stop explaining your worth, stop begging people to understand you, stop lowering your volume to make others feel comfortable, that's when your silence becomes a roar. And sometimes silence is also self-love. It's when you choose not to waste your energy on people who don't listen when you speak. It's when you say, I don't need to be louder, I need to be clearer. And the clearest message you can ever send someone is removing your energy, your attention, your presence without a single warning. So the next time someone ignores you, disrespects you, or tries to provoke you, don't react, don't explain, don't engage, just go silent. Because silence is the most deafening sound when it follows presence. And when they notice the shift, it won't be your voice they remember, it will be the silence that replaced it. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman who knows where her emotions end and another person's manipulation begins. A woman who has emotional boundaries doesn't react to every word thrown at her. She doesn't allow her heart to be played like a piano, and that makes her irresistible. Not because she's cold, but because she's in control. Because she has mastered the art of not handing a peace to people who only show up to disturb it. Emotional boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They don't keep love out, they keep toxicity out. Imagine someone trying to guilt trip you, saying, if you really loved me, you'd answer my calls at 2 a.m. But you, calm, self-aware, say, no, I love you, but I love myself too, and I need rest. That sentence alone sets fire to manipulation. That kind of boundary isn't rejection, it's self-protection. And people who respect you will respect it. People who don't, they'll try to shame you for having it. But let them. Because your boundaries aren't for them. They're for you. Think of the girl who once cried when someone ghosted her. Who spiraled when someone didn't text back. Who begged for closure. She didn't have boundaries. She had wounds looking for validation. But then she grew. She started asking herself, why am I giving unlimited access to people who don't even knock before walking into my emotions? And so she changed. She stopped over-explaining, stopped oversharing. She started choosing who earned her softness. And suddenly, her vibe shifted. People started chasing her. Not because she became distant, but because she became disciplined. Emotional boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about keeping yourself whole while letting the right people get close. It's like walking into a luxury boutique. You don't touch everything. You ask. You approach with respect. That's what boundaries do. They turn your heart into something valuable. They stop people from treating your time, your love, your empathy like a vending machine. Instead, they start treating it like art. Rare, precious, and not for everyone. There's a scene that plays out in so many lives. A woman constantly being the emotional crutch, the fixer, the listener. Always there, always available. But the day she stops replying instantly, the day she says, I can't handle your chaos today, I need peace, suddenly she becomes mysterious, magnetic. Why? Because boundaries create a sense of self-respect. And self-respect, it's the most attractive thing in the world. When you say, I will not break myself to fix you, people either rise up to meet you or fall away. Either way, you win. Even in love, emotional boundaries are everything. A relationship without them is just dependency. But when two people come together, both whole, both respectful of each other's space, both clear on their emotional limits, it's no longer love out of need. It's love out of choice. And choice is seductive because it means I don't need you to survive. I choose you because I want you. That's love without pressure. That's love with depth. And here's the truth. When you have emotional boundaries, you don't argue to be understood. You observe. You don't fight to keep someone. You choose peace over proving a point. You don't fear being alone, because solitude doesn't scare someone who's already emotionally safe within themselves. That calmness, that wholeness, that's the glow people can't resist. That's the energy people obsess over. Because it's not chaos, it's clarity. The moment you stop letting every comment, every rejection, every delay in text shake your emotions, you become untouchable. You become the kind of woman who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't break over temporary people. Instead, you become the storm that no longer needs to thunder to be felt. You walk in peace. And that peace demands attention without ever asking for it. Emotional boundaries don't make you hard to love. They make you unforgettable to the ones who truly want to love you right. Mystery is power, and unpredictability is the one trait that makes a woman unforgettable. Why? Because a man can't control what he can't predict. The second he thinks he knows your every move, your every emotion, your every response, he begins to play you like a game. But when your silence is unexpected, when your reaction is calm instead of chaotic, when your presence is no longer guaranteed, that's when the game resets. That's when you become the one holding the controller. This is a reason why some women never get taken for granted. It's not because they shout louder or love harder. It's because they are unpredictable in the most graceful way. She might respond to a disrespectful text not with anger, but with distance. She might disappear not to provoke a reaction, but to protect her energy. And that unpredictability makes him nervous. He doesn't know whether you'll respond with a laugh, a boundary, or complete silence. And that's powerful. Because now you're not on his emotional leash, he's on your mystery line. Think of a girl who used to be an open book. He knew that every time he ghosted her, she'd text the next day. Every time he came back, she'd welcome him without questions. Predictable, easy, controllable. But one day she stops, he ghosts her, and she stays silent. He comes back, and she doesn't even reply. Suddenly the power shifts. Suddenly, she's no. The longer the girl he could read, she's a story he can't finish. That shift, that refusal to be predictable, rewrites the entire dynamic. It's like watching a poker game. The person who shows their hand too early always loses. But the one who smiles, stays calm, makes moves that no one expects, that's the player you fear. In relationships, the same rule applies. If you want to stay powerful, stop broadcasting your every feeling. Stop giving warnings before you walk away. Stop repeating your worth to people who act blind. Just act. Just move. Let them feel the aftermath of what they didn't see coming. That's not games, it's self-mastery. There's a common trap. Women think being real means being reactive. But true authenticity isn't spilling everything. It's choosing what to reveal and when. A woman who doesn't always explain herself, who doesn't always say where she's going, who doesn't always respond to emotional manipulation, that's the woman who stays unforgettable. He can't prepare for her, can't predict her, and therefore can't control her. And control dies in the face of unpredictability. Even in the workplace, this truth shows up. The woman who keeps her next move quiet, who doesn't boast but delivers, who walks into meetings like she doesn't need to dominate. She gets respect. People ask, what's she thinking? What's she planning? That aura makes people sit up. It's not about mystery for the sake of games. It's about being unpredictable so people can't box you in. And in love, unpredictability is gold. A woman who switches it up, who sometimes sends sweet messages, other times takes a day to herself, who can go from romantic to fierce with the flip of her energy. She's magnetic. Because she's real, but she's not readable. And a man can't manipulate what he doesn't understand. The second he says, I know she'll take me back, is the second you don't. That move, that's checkmate. A woman who embraces this energy doesn't throw tantrums. She doesn't announce her every boundary. She doesn't cry to be seen. She becomes the calm before the storm. And sometimes the storm itself. She's soft where she chooses and fire where she needs. And he doesn't know which one he'll get. That keeps him on his toes. That keeps him trying. And that keeps you in your power. Because once he realizes he can't calculate you like the others, he either levels up or loses you entirely. Either way, he'll never forget the woman he couldn't predict. You are not a consolation prize. You are not someone's second thought, backup plan, or emotional rehab. You are the prize. And it's time you start acting like it. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't shrink to fit into spaces that weren't built for your brilliance. You walk in like you belong, because you do. When you know your worth, you stop auditioning for roles in people's lives that you were born to cast. Think about it. When you walk into a luxury store, the bags don't scream, "Pick me!" They sit in silence, confident, elegant, knowing their value. They're not for everyone, and they don't have to be. That's how you carry yourself when you understand that you're the prize. You stop offering discounts on your energy. You stop explaining your standards. You stop lowering the price on your soul just to be chosen. Because the right person won't ask for a bargain. They'll be willing to rise to the level of your worth. There's a woman out there right now texting him paragraphs trying to prove she's enough. Another one cancelling her plans, waiting by the phone, hoping he calls. And then there's you. Calm, composed, focused on your goals. You don't sit around hoping someone picks you. You pick yourself. You water your own grass. You live a life that's already full, so no one becomes your oxygen. And that's what makes you magnetic. Because people are drawn to what they can't control. They're obsessed with what doesn't beg. You are the prize when you know how to walk away. Not with bitterness, but with grace. When someone disrespects you and you don't fight, don't scream, don't prove, you just leave. That's when they realize they lost something rare. People only take for granted what's too available. So stop making your love a public service. Stop handing out VIP access to people who haven't earned basic respect. You are not hard to love. You are just hard to fool. Even in friendships and work, you are still the prize. That means not being the one who always says yes, who always bends, who always over-delivers for people, who underappreciate. The prize doesn't prove, it performs. Quietly, powerfully. You don't tell people you're valuable. You show them by how you carry yourself, how you protect your peace, how you honor your time. Every no you say to what drains you is a yes to your self-worth. People will try to test you. They'll breadcrumb, they'll push your buttons, they'll play inconsistent games just to see how much of yourself you're willing to lose to win them. But here's the secret. When you know you're the prize, you don't compete. You don't rush. You don't react. You respond. With distance, with silence, with elevation. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. And self-respect is the loudest language of power. Picture this. Two women walk into a room. One seeks attention, the other commands it. One adjusts her dress constantly, nervous and waiting to be seen. The other walks with purpose, not needing validation because she already gave it to herself. Guess who the room can't stop looking at? Exactly. The one who acts like the prize. Because confidence is louder than beauty. And authenticity is more seductive than desperation. When you stop chasing love, when you stop trying to convince people of your value, when you stop treating your presence like it's replaceable, that's when the tables turn. That's when people start wondering why they ever thought they could play with you. That's when they start calling, watching, missing, because you finally stepped into the truth you were never meant to chase. You were meant to choose. Not every hand deserves to hold you. Not every eye deserves to see you. Not every heart deserves to keep you. When you act like the prize, you attract people who value the win. And now, let me tell you something that might just shift your entire perspective. You were never meant to be easily understood, simply tolerated, or half-loved. You were meant to be experienced like art, not for everyone, but unforgettable, to the one who sees your full worth. A woman who knows her value doesn't wait for approval. She becomes the standard. A woman who carries herself like the prize doesn't get played, she gets pursued. You want to know the secret? The real power isn't in being loved by many. It's in being respected in your absence. When your silence makes more noise than your presence ever did. When your absence makes someone realize, she didn't need me, I needed her. That's the power of self-worth. You become a force so undeniable that even the ones who lost you speak your name like a lesson they had to learn the hard way. Don't let anyone dim your light just because it blinds them. Don't lower your standards because you're afraid of being alone. Remember, loneliness with self-respect is always better than company with compromise. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You weren't born to be small. You weren't born to fit into his schedule, his ego, or his comfort zone. You were born to rise. You were born to glow. And darling, you were born to be unforgettable. If he has to lose you to see your value, let him lose you. If he needs silence to hear your worth, give him silence. Because your energy is too expensive for people who pay in. Inconsistency. Love doesn't beg. Real love doesn't chase. And you don't chase what's already yours. And you surely don't chase what doesn't recognize your value. There will be moments when you feel like you're too much, too emotional, too intense, too passionate, too independent. Let me tell you something. You are not too much. You are exactly enough for the one who's ready. And for those who aren't, let them go. Release them with grace. Because you're not here to babysit someone's immaturity. You're here to build an empire with someone who knows how to hold your crown, not just admire it from a distance. Powerful women are not loud, but their presence roars. They don't scream to be seen, they shine. And they don't ask for attention, they command respect. So walk with the fire of a woman who's been through storms and came out soaked in grace. Speak with the ah. Confidence is contagious, standards are sexy, and a woman who doesn't chase is a woman no one forgets. So lift your chin, fix your crown, and never forget this. You are the fire, the storm, the calm, and the peace all in one. And when you finally act like the prize, you stop being an option and you become the dream. The woman who stops chasing becomes the one worth chasing. The woman who doesn't flinch becomes the one they never forget. And the woman who walks away with silence becomes the echo in every room he walks into, wondering why he ever thought she'd stay.